Okay, welcome to everyone who has joined in this lecture on the law of mind. So here we will discuss about the nature of mind. So let us go slide by slide. The overview. How was the universe formed? So we know very well. So in this lecture, in this presentation, we will be looking at how was the universe formed, which is already a known fact, but we will still look at it before we go into the law of mind. So all these questions will help us to understand about the law of mind very well. So then next we will look at what are the elements of material nature. So how was the universe formed, and then what are the elements of material nature, and then what is the relationship between mind and the other elements. So that we will figure out what is the relationship between mind and the other elements. And next we will look at what is the source of happiness. So all these questions will be answered in this particular presentation. Then what is the law of mind? We will also discuss, that is the main objective of today's topic, that is the law of mind. And then at the end we will look at how to control mind. So these are the various questions this presentation is going to answer. So now how was the universe formed? The Big Bang theory, which is a known science, the facts. Let us look at the facts. Discoveries in astronomy and physics, they have shown beyond a reasonable doubt that our universe did in fact have a beginning. So that is the point we need to understand very well from our modern science, that our universe at some point of time, if we go back in time, there was no universe. So the universe did have a beginning actually. So that is the important fact which we know already. And also we know that Big Bang, actually it's not an explosion that just by the word Big Bang, it doesn't mean that it is just an explosion, but it is actually, it was an expansion. So this whole universe at the time of Big Bang, it started expanding, and now it's still expanding, and now from today's science we very well know that it's still expanding at a very faster rate. It's accelerating. Basically its expansion is accelerating. And another important fact which we know very well, that space and time did not exist prior to the Big Bang. In our modern science, if we don't have space and time, then our today's science itself, it won't exist. We cannot progress anything further without space and time. So, but prior to the Big Bang, there was no space and no time. So these are the facts about the Big Bang. These are all required before we go to the mind, before we understand about mind, about the law of mind. Now, having seen about the entire universe, how the Big Bang started and how it is expanding, now let us come to Earth. In this entire universe, this Earth is a special planet. Why Earth is a special planet? Because the living entities, the living beings can actually sustain only under specific circumstances, when all those circumstances actually, all those factors actually they work together. Otherwise we can't find living beings. That's why we are trying to figure out if there are if there is life in any other planet in this universe. So now let us look at, there are so many points to basically understand how this Earth is a special planet, but just let us look at a few points. The very important fact is that, the point is that this Earth is at the right distance from the Sun for the life to exist. If it is little closer to the sun or away from the sun, then life cannot exist. Our temperature, our body temperature, to maintain our body temperature, we need right now whatever is the distance between the sun and earth, that is the right distance. And also Earth's moon stabilizes our planet's rotation, preventing drastic movements of the poles. We have one moon, but that moon has a major role for our life in Earth. If there is no moon for this Earth, then there is no life in Earth. And also the big planet Jupiter protects Earth from the comets and other space debris. So we know that there are so many space debris, not only the man-made satellites, but also there are so many space debris. But the Earth is protected very much by the Jupiter. That is the big planet, so it is protecting the Earth. And also another important fact is that the core of the Earth generates a magnetic field. The iron that generates the molten iron that generates the magnetic field, which prevents our atmosphere being blown away by the solar wind. So these are all some major points, but there are so many factors. So if we consider all these factors, and the probability of getting a planet like Earth is actually it's 1 in a trillion. So it's a very, very rare opportunity to get a planet like Earth. So this Earth is a special planet. So we have understood about the Big Bang theory, and also we know about why Earth is so important. And because this knowledge will help us to finally when we touch about the mind, when we discuss about the mind. Now let us look at discuss about the age and life of Earth and Sun. That is our solar system. We know that this universe has got billions of solar systems, and there are billions of galaxies, and each galaxy has got billions of solar systems. So we talk only in terms of billions, because that means it's a really countless number of solar systems and galaxies are there in this universe. But just now let us focus on our Earth, our solar system, the age and life of this Earth and solar system and the Sun. From modern science, the total lifetime of the Sun is about 9.56 billion years. That's what from our modern science it shows very clearly, tells us very clearly with various kinds of measurements we have. And the Earth formed at about the same time as the rest of the solar system. So the entire planets and the rest of the solar system in our solar system, they all formed at the same time. And the solar system, our solar system is 4.56 billion years old. Remaining lifetime of the Sun is about 5 billion years. Life will be unsustainable on Earth in about another half or 1 billion years, another 0.5 to 1 billion years, because the Sun is expanding. The Sun is expanding, and it is going to expand more. It's going to burn more fuels, and slowly it will grow. The Sun will grow. So that means the temperature in the Earth is going to increase. So it is not just by global warming, but it is also because of the Sun is going to expand, and eventually this in another 5 billion years the Sun is going to expand into almost 250 times than what it is now. So in that case the Sun will simply swallow the Earth. So even in just another half a billion or in 1 billion years, the temperature in this Earth is going to be so much hot, there won't be any water in this Earth. Everything will be evaporated into this space. So now here I am going to show some very interesting facts from Bhagavad Gita, so which is a science. So let us just compare the total lifetime of the Sun from Bhagavad Gita. It is about 8.4 billion years. So 8.64 billion years. Life will be sustainable on Earth for 4.32 billion years. So it talks about Mahayuga. So that is called 4.32 million years is one Mahayuga. That is 4.32 million years. So 1000 Mahayugas is called 4.32 billion years, which is equivalent to one Kalpa. So that is the time scale discussed in this particular philosophy book, from where we will take about the mind. So life exists for one kalpa and disappears for one kalpa. This cycle continues. So basically, we also know that Big Bang and there is going to be big crunch. So the scientists also talk about big crunch. So it's going to again come back and again expand and again going to shrink like that. So the main reason I'm showing this particular philosophy book here is that the order of magnitude, we have to look at the order of magnitude. It's very much comparable with our modern science. So, and about the mind, about the material elements, about the nature, and about our senses, intelligence, and our life, the purpose of life, and the peace of mind, and the happiness, and so much important subjects which is very much required for everyone in this world. It is discussed in this particular philosophical book. So let us discuss now the 25 elements of material nature. This material nature has got about 25 elements. So they are the 5 material elements. Our modern science mainly deals with these 5 material elements. There is earth, water, fire, air, and space. That's what, even if we take about the history of our modern science, originally they divided all the material elements into these 5: earth, water, fire, air, and space. So whatever advancements we have made till now, and whatever technological achievements we have obtained, everything is by manipulating, by using, by all these 5 material elements. So these are called 5 material elements. That's called Panjabhutam. And then false ego, there is another material nature, false ego. So that means we have got ego. Everyone in this world, we have got ego. So that is called also false ego. So that is called another material nature. And then intelligence. And then here there are unmanifested modes of nature. There are 3 of them. 3. So unmanifested modes of nature. So that is called the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. We will discuss little bit about these 3 modes of nature in the coming slide. And then another important material element, out of these 25 elements, that is the mind. So our subject today is the law of mind, is about this mind. So that's why we are now looking at all these 25 elements, and then we will focus on the mind. So then 10 senses. We have 10 senses. Out of these 10 senses, there are 5 knowledge acquiring senses. They are called Jnanendriyas. And then 5 working senses. They are called Karmendriyas. So the knowledge acquiring senses, the eyes for to see, and the ears to hear, and the nose to smell, and the tongue to taste, and the skin to touch. So these eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, these are the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And then 5 working senses, that is the voice, legs, hands, anus, and the genitals. So these 5 are the working senses. So these are the totally 10 senses. And then 5 sense objects. So there are 5 types of sense objects. That is the smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. And then ultimately the very important subject in these 25 elements of material nature, that is the time. So totally all these things are all the material nature. This is called Prakriti, the material nature. So on this we are going to discuss about the mind. Our modern science, as I already mentioned, it mainly talks about these 5 elements. So we don't even get much about the mind from our modern science. Of course, the psychiatrists or psychologists, in the psychology there are we know about mind to some extent, definitely, but still about the mind we need to know more. So let us discuss about today about the mind. So that's what our subject, our topic today is, the law of mind. So now let us discuss. Let's continue. Okay, the 3 modes of nature. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the unmanifested modes of nature. So then we will fully focus on the mind. They are goodness, passion, and ignorance. And these three modes of nature, they are like three basic colors. We need to understand very well that in this world, everyone is forced to act helplessly by these three modes of material nature. That is a very important science actually. If we study and understand this science, we can produce thousands of PhDs based on this particular subject, goodness, passion and ignorance, these three modes of material nature, how everybody is forced to act helplessly in this world. Frankly speaking, even the ahankara, that false ego, that ego itself is defined. The ego itself is explained by the knowledge of these three modes of nature, because anything we do, any action we do, we are all forced by these three modes. So under whatever mode we are, we do that action. Sometimes a person who is in the mode of goodness, he will do good things. The person in the mode of passion, he will be all the time angry and he will be doing a lot of bad things. And the mode of ignorance, he will be lazy and like that. So the same person can change into different modes, get different, can be influenced by different modes, and a combination of these three modes. So that's why I said they are like three basic colors. So all other colors we see, they are a particular combination of these three basic colors. So that's why this very important point here, the third bullet, the characteristics of a person are the combination of these three modes of nature. Every individual, every particular individual has got his or her own characteristics. So even by birth we can see that every individual is different. Every individual is different. So that means this particular combination of these three modes of nature. And sometimes the mode of goodness becomes predominant, and sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at some other times the ignorance defeats goodness and passion. So that's what is happening in our life. Like we will like show this multi-person symptoms. Like we will sometimes like in the mode of goodness, doing good things, as I already said. And most of the time in this world, in this earth, especially, we are in the mode of passion, because all our work we are doing so aggressively, and everything is actually because of the mode of passion. But since all these activities are actually carried out by the three modes of nature, and we foolishly think that they are carried out by us, we are actually doing those activities. In fact, we are not. But we think that we are doing, that is called ego, that is called ahankara, that's called false ego. Since we are not doing, actually the modes of nature is doing, modes of nature are doing all the activities. So that's why if we think that we are doing, then it is called ahankara, ego. Basically that's how ego is defined. Now let us discuss about the body, because now we want to focus more on the mind. So here the body, we have got two kinds of body. There is gross body and subtle body. This gross body is made up of these five material elements we just looked at it. We just discussed. There is earth, water, fire, air and space. So our body is made out of earth. The earth has got all the properties like solid and bone and everything. And then water, we have got water. Of course, our body, 80% of our body is made out of water. So then fire, we have heat in our body, and we have air. Of course, we need to breathe. We need to oxygen. We get oxygen and we release carbon dioxide. So basically, air means it's basically gas. And then of course, our body occupies a space in this universe. So we need space. So basically our gross body is made up of these five material elements. So that is our gross body. And then what is it called? Subtle body. We also have a subtle body. This is called Sthula Sarira and this is called Sukshma Sarira. A body means Sarira in Sanskrit. So that is our subtle body is made out of mind, intelligence and ahankara, this false ego basically. So the difference between gross body and subtle body is when we die, we actually lose our gross body. But when we go into next body, basically we will keep the same subtle body, same mind, intelligence and ahankara. That's why each person at birth has a particular type of set of intelligence. Some childs even right from birth they are so intelligent, and some kids right from birth they are so dumb, so they can't understand anything. So all these things comes from our previous body. So that's why this subtle body, whatever we are having, is going to come with to our next body, and it came with our previous body actually from when we change the body. So this is called subtle body. So now here mind is there. Mind is a part of this subtle body, which we are not going to lose when we die. It is going to come with our next body. So mind is a very, very important part of our body, and we need to understand and know more about mind. The more we know about mind, then the better we can actually live in this world, and we can understand the meaning of life, the purpose of life, and we can actually use our mind in a very, very constructive way. In fact, by knowing very clearly, by understanding very nicely about the law of mind, like we have so many laws of material nature. So similarly, the law of mind, if we understand clearly, it is definitely going to make our life more meaningful and purposeful. Now go to the next slide. Now mind. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, so here mind is between senses and intelligence. Now we need to know in our body, like we have body and senses are superior to dull matter. So we have senses. In the 25 elements of material nature, we discussed about the 5 jnanendriyas, the knowledge acquiring senses, like the sense of seeing, sense of smelling, sense of hearing, sense of touching. So all such knowledge acquiring senses, sense of tasting. So those senses are higher than our material body, just the body. And next mind is higher. This is the hierarchy between all these various parts of our body. The mind is higher than the senses. And then we have intelligence. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. Intelligence is higher than the mind. And of course, we are not this body, we are not this mind, we are not the senses, we are not the intelligence, and we are not this body. Then who are we? Who am I? We are the soul. That is called Atma. So that soul, Atma, that soul is even higher than the intelligence. So this is the relationship between. So we need to understand now that mind is between senses and intelligence. So that means the mind has more relationship between intelligence and senses because it is situated between these two. So that means mind interacts more with senses and intelligence. We need to understand very well, because with this understanding, with this basic understanding, we will be able to actually understand the law of mind, define and understand the law of mind, that mind is between senses and intelligence. Okay, we just discussed mind is between senses and intelligence. Let us now understand here, senses control mind and intelligence. In fact, senses, even though it is inferior, so mind and intelligence are above senses, but the nature of senses, the senses control mind and intelligence. The senses are so strong and impetuous that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Even a person who perfectly understands the law of mind, perfectly has this knowledge about mind, senses, intelligence and everything. So the senses actually, even though it is inferior, but they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Even a man who tries to control the senses. So that much strong senses we need to understand. And then as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, as a strong, this is an analogy which helps us to understand how the senses are very strong and how the senses are trying to control mind and intelligence. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses, as I just mentioned, there are 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. So mind is there, intelligence is there, and senses are there. But if our mind focuses on the roaming senses, even one of the roaming senses, then we will also lose our intelligence. So In fact, we will discuss here. In fact, this particular picture shows very clearly the relationship between body, mind, senses, intelligence, and soul. So here it's basically a chariot, and there are 5 horses, and there is a driver who drives the chariot, and there is a passenger who is sitting on the chariot. So, and the driver uses the rope to control the horses, and now these 5 horses are compared to 5 senses. In fact, first let's go to the body. The body is the chariot. This chariot itself is our body. So we have a body, so that is compared to the chariot, and the 5 horses basically they are compared to the 5 senses. So we have this body, our body has got 5 senses, so that is comparable with this chariot having 5 horses. And then the intelligence is the driver of this chariot. The intelligence should drive this chariot in the right way towards our destination, towards our goal. So the intelligence should know. The intelligence should very clearly have the knowledge, and that's what we are getting. We are getting right now the knowledge, the soul. The passenger also has the knowledge. So the intelligence should drive the chariot properly by what? With the help of the mind. So the mind is which is between the senses and intelligence, and now this mind, this rope, if it is under the control of the intelligence, then it can go to the place where we want. Then it can smoothly, we can ride on the chariot. The passenger, the soul, can smoothly ride on the chariot. But if the intelligence, if we don't have intelligence, if we don't have the driver, if the ropes are not controlled by the intelligence, and if it is controlled by the senses, 5 senses, just now we studied that even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses, it can carry away the intelligence. So that's what will happen if the mind actually is having a strong relationship with senses. If the mind is not listening to the intelligence or the soul, and if the mind is forcibly carried away by the senses are so impetuous, are so strong and impetuous that they forcibly carry away the mind. So then what's going to happen is that the soul will lose the intelligence. So that means the passenger will lose the driver. So when we lose the driver, then the mind is completely under the control of the senses. So then it will lead us into destruction. So our life will be destroyed. That's it. So this is a comparison, very nice comparison between. So now we understand more about our mind, where our mind stands actually. So now this is another nice slide which again discusses about mind, and also this particular slide gives us a very detailed understanding on the source of desires and anger, how we get desires and how we get anger. We see everybody getting angry, even we get angry many times on why we get angry, first of all. So here, what is happening? Mind, when the mind thinks about the sense objects, so there are sense objects. We already discussed in the 25 elements of material nature, there are 5 sense objects. When the mind discusses about the sense objects, then that mind develops attachment to them, towards the sense objects. When the mind contemplates on the sense objects, it develops attachment. From such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. Because when we have attachment, so we have lust, and if our lust is not satisfied, then we immediately get angry. So that's why anger arises from the lust. Then when there is anger, we don't know which is right, which is wrong. We are completely confused. So that's why delusion arises. From anger, delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. Our memory is bewildered. So that's why in this world, there are many people, out of anger, they do so many stupid mistakes. Sometimes they kill their own, like to whom they love very much, they kill their own relatives, their own even brothers and parents. So like that we see there are so many things are happening, but it is all not by planning. It's not a planned thing. It is suddenly, it's because of the anger. When the anger comes, we totally go out of control. We totally go out of control. So that is called the bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, So what's going to happen is that our intelligence will be lost. We will lose our intelligence. Intelligence is lost. When the intelligence is lost, then look at this big person, we will fall down. We will fall down into this material pool. So that way we will lose our human life. Our life will be full of miseries. This material world is compared to a place which is full of miseries, and it's a temporary place. So next, mind is the source of happiness and distress. This picture itself explains very clearly this slide. Peaceful mind, peace of mind is the source of happiness. But if the mind is restless, then there is a source of distress. So in this life, every individual living being, whether it's human or any other species of life, each living being, basically we want to be happy. That's it. We want to be happy. We all go after happiness. But unfortunately in this world, we are running after the mirage of happiness. Just like in the desert, if you are so much thirsty, we want water, and we will see only the mirage of water in the desert. And if we think that there is water, and if we run there, we won't find it. Then we will find the mirage of water at some other place. Then if we think that there is water over there, we will run there, we won't find it. So that way, if we are looking for water in the desert, we will be keep running and without getting water and simply suffering. So similarly, in this material world, we will never get happiness with the material sense objects. The real happiness is there in the mind. The happiness is not anywhere externally, it is there in the sense objects. The real happiness is, actually defined as the status of mind, where mind is completely peaceful. If mind is completely peaceful, then we are happy. So if we are looking for happiness in the material sense objects, then that is like the mirage of water. We will be thinking that by doing this, by doing that, I will be happy, and then after finishing that, we will find out that we are still not happy. Then we will look for more to do. So that way we continuously do things in this life, going after happiness till death, and we will never be happy at all. But the actual happiness is there in the mind. If the mind is peaceful, then we are happy. And that peace of mind, we cannot go and buy anywhere. And that peace of mind cannot be obtained by any amount of money. It cannot be obtained by any amount of power. So that we need to understand that how to get that happiness, how to get that peace of mind, That peace of mind cannot be obtained by any amount of money or power. So if our mind is always restless, then we will be distressed. So peace of this particular slide very clearly explains that peace of mind is the source of happiness. The properties of mind, like in our subject modern science, physical properties, chemical properties, we study so many properties of the substances. So here the properties of mind is the mind is restless, mind is turbulent, strong and obstinate. These are the properties of mind. So now we have to make our mind calm, make our mind peaceful. So, but the properties of mind is that mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate and very strong. But if we understand the law of mind, then it is possible for us actually to make the mind very peaceful. So what is the law of mind? So that is our subject today. That is the objective of this presentation today. Our particular presentation today is the law of mind. But we need to understand here that one must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. That's what we need to know. Why? Because the mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and is enemy as well. So it all depends on us. So with the mind we can deliver ourselves. With the mind we can attain a position, a situation where we are full of happy, full of bliss. All the time happy only, happy and increasing happiness only. But with the same mind we can fall into a very condemned destination where it is full of distress, all the time distress. So that's why here it is said that one must deliver himself with the help of his mind, not degrade himself, because with the mind both are possible. Either we can deliver or we can degrade, both are possible. So that means we need to know the law of mind. We need to understand about the mind. We need to know how to make our mind more peaceful. So that technology, that science, so that is what is required for each and every individual living being, irrespective of caste, creed and religion. So this is a science about mind. So the mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and its enemy as well. So what is the law of mind? The law of mind is controlled mind is the best friend and the uncontrolled mind is the worst enemy. So controlled mind is the best friend and the uncontrolled mind is the worst enemy. So now the ball is in our court. We need to decide whether to make our own mind as our best friend or our own mind as our worst enemy. It's in our hands. So we need to know the science, we need to understand, we need to know very well about the mind, about the senses, intelligence, soul and the body and how all these things are working and what is the purpose of life, what is the goal of life, who am I. So all these scientific matters, scientific subjects which are very much useful and which are very much needed for each and every individual person. So this knowledge is required. So then only it is possible for us to make the mind as our best friend. If we don't have this knowledge, if we are fully ignorant, if we don't have this knowledge, then it is not possible to make our mind as our best friend, and it will be simply, it will remain as our worst enemy, and that means our life is full of distress. That means there is no hope in our life. We cannot get with our so-called so many achievements, materialistic achievements in our life. We can lead a very happy life. So that is never going to be possible unless the mind is peaceful. The mind is peaceful. So then only we can lead a happy life. So we need to know about the mind more. So now we know the law of mind. So this is the law of mind. So let us look at how to control the mind. So we need to know how to control mind. Because when we control mind, then the mind is our best friend. So Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So these two words are very important, practice and detachment, meaning determination. So with determination, with detachment, if we do practice, then it is possible to control the restless mind. Because here Lord Shri Krishna has also accepted that it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. It is very difficult. In fact, in this world, any person who has achieved something and we can prize that person a lot, only a person who has actually controlled the mind, only we should envy that person. There is no point in envying others in this world. There is no point. In fact, other people, even if a person is so rich or so powerful, we can only simply pity on him only, because it's not going to help unless if that person has controlled mind or not. That's what is very important. If any person in this world who has completely controlled mind, and the mind is completely under control, then that person is really the most gifted person in this universe, basically. So because mind is going to be the friend. If mind is not the friend, if mind is the enemy, sometimes our mind kills ourselves. That's why we commit suicide. So that means the mind itself is killing us, basically. So even if we live also, the mind in our life all the time makes our life more miserable in this world. We will never be happy in this world at all, because the mind is restless. Only if the mind is peaceful, so then only if the mind is calm, then only we will be happy. So, but that kind of calmness to the mind, that kind of peacefulness to the mind, we can actually bring it by constant practice, by suitable practice, and by detachment. So we need to know what that practice is there. That's what is very important. In this world, anything is achievable only by practice. Practice makes man perfect. So practice. So that practice, that science, so that we need to understand very clearly. And if we do that practice in our life, then our mind will become our best friend. Otherwise, our mind will be worst enemy. So the next point says that from what is that practice, how to practice. So this practice is there from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature. One must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of this. So this is the practice we need to do on a daily basis. When we start doing this practice at a given specified time on a daily basis as a daily routine, when we do this practice, so what we are supposed to do is actually we need to check our mind. We need to, because when we simply sit and check our mind, we know that the mind is not at one place. The mind keeps going here and there at a very, very high speed. In fact, the speed of mind is even higher than the speed of light. The mind is so fast. It goes here and there. So the mind is not in one place. So that mind, we need to check that mind, and wherever it goes, the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature. So what one should do? One must withdraw that mind and bring it back under the control of the self. So that is the practice. So by doing that practice on a daily basis, then the mind will not wander. The mind will simply stay at one place. So that comes with practice. So at that point of time, the mind will become our best friend, because the mind is completely controlled. So that's what we are supposed to do, to control the mind and make the mind as our best friend. But if we don't do this practice, so then if we simply let the mind to go wherever it wants, so that means it will simply lead us into destruction, and we cannot be happy in this life at all. So this is what about how to control mind. So now let us look at the summary about what we have seen in this particular presentation on the law of mind. Mind is one of the 25 elements of material nature. Mind is a part of the subtle body. We know that there are two kinds of body, gross body and subtle body. Mind is a part of the subtle body, and which is going to take us to the next life, next body. In fact, mind is going to come with us to the next body. In fact, mind is the only one tool, one part of our body which is going to decide what kind of body we are going to get in the next life. Whether we get liberated from the modes of material nature or not, that is also in the hands of the mind. And intelligence should control the senses through the mind. Mind is the source of desires, anger, happiness, and distress. Oh, so much. Mind is so much. Mind is the source of desires, anger, happiness, and distress. And controlled mind is the best friend, and uncontrolled mind is the worst enemy. So now, acknowledgement. I really wish to thank Lord Sri Krishna. Actually, he has given this philosophy known as Bhagavad Gita to this world, which is beyond caste, creed, and religion, because this is completely a scientific book, because it discusses about the science of mind, senses, intelligence, and everything about the purpose of life, goal of life, life beyond birth and death. Everything is scientifically. So it's philosophically. So to this well, and also I wish to acknowledge Srila Prabhupada for his book Bhagavad Gita as it is. Without this book, without which it is impossible for me to prepare and deliver this presentation on the law of mind. I also want to inform that we are having, I'm giving the course, Tele-Course on this particular subject, Bhagavad Gita. So I'm giving every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. CST. But maybe in future, if this law of mind is well received by everyone, so I'm thinking that maybe we can start, because this particular course is only a Tele-Course, no presentation, no webinar kind of thing. But if more people wants to join a webinar presentation, so then I'm more eager to start like a prepared presentation material every week, and we can also start at a convenient time for everyone, like the course on this Bhagavad Gita, like a webinar course. So right now this Tele-Course is going on, and the call-in number is given here, 253-753-1889. There is no PIN required for this Tele-Course. And also we are already completed almost 50% of this course, but still all those lectures are already available in this website, rajavidya.com. So here one needs to register in this website, then they can download it freely. And if anybody wants to contact me, my email address is given here. There is rajavidya1@gmail.com, as it is shown here, RAJAVIDYA, rajavidya1@gmail.com. Rajavidya means the king of knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita is actually is the king of knowledge.